These are devotees of an alternative health group called Universal Medicine.
That makes me sound like an extremist minority cult member.
Well, we are.
And this is the man they've made a multi-millionaire.
Cult leader, whatever they said.
Serge Ben Hayen is a former bankrupt tennis coach who founded the group in 1999 after claiming to have a spiritual revelation sitting on the toilet. Since then, he's held an international web of followers in thrall to his questionable therapies and doctrines.
The esoteric breast massage actually had its beginnings when I first started teaching and essentially predicted the rise of breast cancer. When you orgasm as a hermaphrodite, the orgasm is quite spectacular. You're saying things that nobody wants to hear. You're talking about disabilities being part of karma.
It's views like this that have put the fringe group in the public spotlight. Findings from a defamation case in 2018 describe Ben Hayen as a fraudulent cult leader who vilifies people with disabilities. 5 years on, the group maintains a loyal following.
I don't know why they're getting away with it. Why they're allowed to so blatantly provide services under Serge Ben Hayen's banner.
Beyond his public sermons, Ben Hayen's group is linked to an organisation that cares for people with disabilities and receives taxpayer funds through the National Disability Insurance Scheme.
It seems to me that people who are being funded out of public money should be able to guarantee that they're providing evidence-based care and that people in their care are safe.
I'm a working parent, so it is hard to balance being a working single parent with taking care of Aaron.
She's a single parent, you know, and I'm reliant on other people to help me with my social skills and independent living skills.
With funding from the NDIS, Karen Kennedy last year engaged a support worker for her son Aaron, who has autism.
I did trust her because she came across as, very easygoing, very reassuring. She came with all the experience that you would expect.
Karen says when she started going through the invoices, there was a problem. In less than a year, the carer Deborah McInnes had spent more than $50,000 of Aaron's NDIS funding, much of it at a behavioural therapies clinic.
She was charging outrageous amounts every fortnight. And it got to the stage where, all she was doing was taking Aaron to Fabic. I think Tanya Curtis was a behavioural therapist. I just looked her up on the internet and I saw Tanya Curtis.
So when I first attended a course as presented by Serge Ben Hayen, I just felt like I was at home.
Fabic owner Tanya Curtis has been a devotee of Universal Medicine. So has the carer who kept taking Aaron to her clinic, Deborah McInnes.
The end result was, I think, purely to benefit Universal Medicine, because Fabic obviously is an extension of Universal Medicine.
This was clear to me when I began blogging about them, that this group operated as a cartel with a system of internal referrals. So they would bring in vulnerable clients from the outside and funnel them into Universal Medicine businesses.
Healthcare activist Esther Rocket proved in the New South Wales Supreme Court in 2018 that Universal Medicine was an exploitative cult.
This is Tanya endorsing Serge 2 days before the jury made their findings, after all of the evidence had been heard, and then we learn that years later she's still associated with him, this disreputable character who was proven to vilify people with disabilities.
All autistic people are incarnates of former authority abuse and powerful abuse over others. As are Down syndrome, as are spastic or any other disabled child. They are former incarnates of corrupt politicians, corrupt generals, army people, dictators.
I mean, if she can endorse someone that promotes, beliefs like that. Yeah.
Tanya Curtis and I met when we were in our early 20s. I was her business manager, practice manager, friend. Her involvement with universal medicine became more apparent. She completely changed who she was.
Former FABIC staffer Michelle Stolhorst says universal medicine permeated the business.
I saw the money that was being funneled to universal medicine, and some weeks it was extraordinary. Most of FABIC's merchandise that Tan Curtis created references Serge Ben Hayen and universal medicine. I was definitely groomed as such to become a cult member.
Michelle says she saw the dark side of universal medicine when her daughter balked at attending one of its events.
I was told by Tanya Curtis that if my daughter didn't attend, it was because she was learning judgment, and if she learned judgment, she would have a baby with Down syndrome because that's her karma for judging others.
She said something about your son too, didn't she?
So not only my son, but anybody who's on the spectrum, that's because in their past lives, they've made bad choices and they were bad people in their past lives, so this is their karma coming back at them for this life, to be dealt an autism card.
Michelle Stolhorst says when she left, FABIC was mired in debt. Now it employs 15 staff and is a registered NDIS service provider.
FABIC's much bigger than what it was when I first started. The fact that Tan Curtis is still working with our families at their most vulnerable, and she believes wholeheartedly that our children, that people with disabilities, this is their karma coming back at them, is absolutely mind-boggling to me.
Reincarnation, autism, karma.
You can see on stage, this is Tanya Curtis. In the middle, this is the financial controller or financial manager. Here is a former receptionist from FABIC. This is an occupational therapist, and that's a speech therapist.
FABIC psychologists appear in promotional videos for universal medicine and appear to use a form of therapy with no evidence base, according to medical specialist Dr. Sue Urachi.
It seems like the universal medicine model and Ben Hayen's models have been very influential on the providers in this FABIC clinic. It's definitely stated on the clinic website that 2 provisionally registered psychologists are using this unvalidated method in their therapy. They don't seem to be hiding that in any way.
FABIC therapists also practice out of Universal Medicine's multi-million-dollar Brisbane headquarters. Aaron Kennedy was booked for a session here in March.
We never actually got to that appointment. It was nearly 12 months that he was going to FABIC, and there was no noticeable difference or improvement in his social skills. It's disgraceful, the amount of money that they've obtained from Aaron's funding.
It was honestly really disgusting, and I can't wrap my head around this whole thing of if I was to do what Deborah was doing and what FABIC was doing to someone, I would be so guilt-ridden.
Hi, hello.
Hi.
We're from the ABC.
Yeah.
You've come to see Tanya Curtis.
Yeah, sorry, you don't actually have permission to be on these premises.
7:30 put questions to Tanya Curtis, her staff and carer Deborah McInnes. None responded. The NDIS Commission say they're aware of the matter but can't comment on any investigation.
The clear links that have been shown between these people and that clinic and the NDIS funding are really concerning, both for the sake of the patients and families and also for the expenditure of public money. There are enough red flags there that warrant further investigation.
My hope is that the likes of FABIC and especially Deborah McInnes are not allowed to practice under the NDIS ever again.